Yo, what is good? Lochnar, Lynn, hello, welcome to the stream. I'm just over here kind of BSing a little bit in the Mages Guild. I thought we'd make a cute little mobility spell. We're doing climbing and jumping, and I think we're gonna go, I don't know, do I put on Slowfall now? I think climbing and jumping is good enough. And then Slowfall is something that I want to cast in midair, right? Hey, what's up, Scouting Spartan? Welcome back. Sometimes having Slowfall active whenever you don't want it is kind of obnoxious. Yo, James, welcome. We'll try it. We'll see how you like it with Slowfall active. Worst case scenario, we just get rid of this spell. We do this. I think these are all thaumaturgy. Oh yeah, let's call it cat-like reflexes. That'll be cute for our edgy cat girl. And we'll do this. This can be a very fire spell, so we're gonna do this little icon for it. And I was kind of hoping it would cost more, to be honest. We have so much money, it's kind of weighing us down, but we can't exactly use a bank. Maybe I should get some training, but we also want to save up for things like, oh, you know, we want to save up for things like a Daedra summoning. That's pretty far down the line. We're not very close to being able to do that. We want to save up for a boat, which may not be in the cards for this character, but would still be cool. What was something else I wanted to make? I just had it. Okay, it was drain, willpower. This might be much ado about nothing. But if we could drain willpower for like 30 points on an let's do area around the caster, because that is so much fun doing that, to like punking a mob like that. Hey David, yeah, good to see you bright and early here. Yeah, the idea behind drain willpower is if we succeed in lowering a group's willpower, then we will make it easier for them to, for our destruction spells to affect them. So this would be what's a good word for draining somebody's willpower? Lethargic cloud, something like that. Lethargic cloud. Yeah, we'll go for it. It's like I'm just making them all high off of like secondhand smoke or something. All right, let's get it. All right, welcome back everybody. So we did a bit of questing last time. We're gonna do a bit more questing this time. Can you believe it? Hey, Miscellaneums, welcome. Yeah, my week was fantastic. I hope yours was as well. Yeah, enervating cloud would be good too. I think that might be the naming convention used by later games for damage willpower. We're at 31 reputation in Mages Guild, which means we basically have a promotion pending, but we need to spend some time away from the guild before they'll give it to us. We are at 8 reputation in Dark Brotherhood, so we're going to be getting that promotion pretty soon. The Thieves Guild reputation is here, but honestly, I don't see us really going back to them. Things were... I don't know if this was related, but y'all remember that one episode where our reputation with the Mages Guild got tanked like by 20 points after doing a couple of quests for the Thieves Guild? I'm just going to assume that working for the Thieves Guild put me in the bad graces with the Mages Guild, and so we're going to avoid working with the Thieves Guild. We don't really need them now that we have these other two guilds to work with anyway, so that's that. I thought of a kind of cute goal to work toward, in the form of like, what if we find a dungeon, because we have a lot of dungeons on our map that we have not explored yet, but maybe we can find a dungeon that has some undead in it. We were doing this for a while in Wayrest, but I guess I should slow down a little bit. We found out last time that we are officially like under arrest for criminal conspiracy in Mournoth, as because we did not pay our loan back. We're a criminal. They're gonna, even if we serve our sentence, they're going to keep trying to arrest us, basically. So I think it would be fun to find a a dungeon here in Mournoth that's full of undead, and then we could practice necromancy. We could maybe pacify a couple of them, and then we can buy a cart and leave the cart outside of the dungeon, and then leave some of our gold and treasure there. That would be pretty cool. I would also like to go to Wayrest and pillage a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have that many magical items. And going to Wayrest, stealing some magical items would be fun, from, like, you know, going to pawn shops and things like that. So all of that and more is in store for us. I think there's one other update I wanted to give. Oh yeah, last time I was complaining because whenever I was searching for a Dark Brotherhood target, I was accidentally, like, pacifying enemies whenever I was using interaction mode. So somebody in the chat graciously pointed out that with the language skills overhaul, you can enable this feature so that you can only pacify people when you're in talk mode, dialogue mode. So I enabled that, so that'll be pretty cool. You pick up a leaflet from under your feet, which appears to be newly published. The street ahead is clear, but I wasn't sure what that read. Okay, let's go ahead and see what this was. Is it going to be at the top? I think so. Edict of the Lady. The region of Mournoth offers a gold reward for the capture or slaughter of the one Nightblade of particular infamy known to consort in the city called Weeping Seer of Stendar. This villain has eluded the city guard and is presumed to be a flight risk. The lady insists that the foe be subdued or slain within 4 days. Payment for a successful completion may be obtained from the agent detailed below. So they're worth more alive than dead. What do y'all think? Would we, like, would we care about this? Yeah, I'm sorry. I can hear in the other room while, like, my wife is trying to put my son down to sleep that he's not having a good time, so forgive me if you hear a bit of screaming in the background. Hopefully that doesn't quite reach it. It can be a very unnerving effect. I mean, we'll consider this. Where is the, what was it, Weeping Seer of something or another? I feel like we've been there. Weeping Seer. Can't hear that really. Maybe I should just keep talking to make sure that it doesn't get through. Alright, so here's one. Did we go to the ruins of Dellin Plantation? Like, I can't remember exactly which dungeons we've gone to yet. But I think first order of business, we don't have one in town, do we? No, I was looking for a Dark Brotherhood that we could hit up. We better get a show on the road because the guards will be on our tail soon, I think, since we are constantly going to be under duress from them for our criminal conspiracy charges. Yeah, we got sugar lumps. How are our rations doing? Got good enough rations. I'm in the mood for a little bit of overland travel. I feel like we have not done a little bit of overland travel in a while. We've just kind of been in this sort of hustle and bustle sort of mood. And if we're maybe trying to find this target at Weeping Seer of Stendar, we'll just go westward a little bit. See what happens. But we want to pack up a little bit of food for the road. Or at least eat at a tavern. Handy dandy compass at the ready. Yep, that's west. Oops. Sorry, lady. That sprite that is right there is usually a lady that's in jail. Kind of a weird. I guess she's a beggar. That's the idea. My goodness. She looks like Nilfaga whenever you get up close. The Crusader Kings 3. That's like a menu-based, like, not RTS necessarily, but like kingdom simulation. Is that right? I think that's my understanding. We came here for, like, a little bit of food, so let's get that going. Alright, one apple at a time, sure. Oh yeah, we could have just gone from tavern to tavern as well, which is a valid way of doing it. Yeah, I've never played Crusader Kings, but I've heard good things about it. Oh, look, here we are. You're under arrest for criminal conspiracy. Do you attempt to bribe the guard? Do you surrender? No, no, no. Goodness. They always get me whenever I come into a tavern. So it's called a grand strategy game. That's cool. Let's put on our shield spell, and we're just gonna kind of hop over everyone. Huh. Okay, so we're not stopping in a tavern. It was good for us to, just try to leave with the food from the general store. So what's the core gameplay loop of a grand strategy game like that? You're trying to amass resources and overcome like other political proponents. It has DLCs that you can play an adventurer, mercenary, explorer. So honestly, I was recommended this game one time, and I was a little bit turned off that like it was all menu based on a map. I feel like if I had played it for a while, it would have grown on me. Oh, but you said that you can have a party and go do stuff. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask like if it ever gets to the point where you can just like go adventure like that, because that's what really what I would look for. I think it's just my own personal bias, though. I think it's still menu based. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it'd be weird for them to have an expansion that drastically changes the gameplay loop like that. We can't travel with enemies nearby. Oh, hello. I don't think I care to fight these guys. Like, it's gonna cost me a bunch of spell points for very little reward, so we're just gonna keep on hustling. So Spartan, you're saying that I've been making some shorts. Have I considered making TikTok to put it on there? That was actually something that was recommended to me by my wife. Not that I make shorts, but that I publish it on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. To answer your question, I am hesitant. I think it would be a good idea for the sake of reach to like have a dedicated mica ray gun Instagram, TikTok account and things like that. But I am conflicted. I'm conflicted, big dog, because I'm very much having a hard time finding a healthy relationship with technology. I think in general, too much of my attention is demanded by technology, and I give it too much attention. And so in that sense, how do I describe it? I've recently, just this week actually, like removed Facebook and Instagram from my phone so that I will be less tempted to like doom scroll and things like that. Hey, where'd all my stuff go? Let's loiter for an hour. Where'd all my stuff go? Kind of sucks. What about sugar lumps? Okay. Well, something happened to our camping equipment. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Yeah, so my point is, I'm worried that while TikTok and Instagram having a Micah Reagan page for that would be good for my channel and for reach and things like that, I'm worried it would be bad for my relationship with technology and for my constant need for gratification online and for the constant craving for dopamine hits given by technology. Like I'm really striving to get some stillness in my brain and some stillness in my life, which is something I even talked about whenever I was doing the Bogard playthrough. And so it seems like while that stuff would be good for the channel, it'd be kind of antithetical for my own personal goals. But having a good YouTube channel is part of my personal goals, you know what I mean? It's really, I'm on the fence about it. I've also heard from a friend of mine that Instagram is like a really, not Instagram specifically, but TikTok specifically, is like a really bad thirst trap. Like I've pretty well broken away from all of the like I don't know how to say it without getting my stream demonetized. I've kind of done a good job of breaking away from the constant need to gratify, like, I don't know how to describe it without getting my channel demonetized. I hope you know what I mean. Anyway, there's a lot of temptation on those platforms, the way I understand it. So I'm scared of going there and being tempted. There you go. That's the most easygoing, appropriate way I can put it, I suppose. Why are there enemies nearby? And what enemies are there? So I'm still considering it, though, Spartan. For now, I'm just uploading it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm scared of doom scrolling. I'm really scared of it. For now, I'm uploading YouTube Shorts, one, because like some of these clips that happen in the stream are really funny, and we don't get a ton of views on the stream, which is kind of to be expected, but we do get some views on the clips. So it's fun to do that. But I've also started strategically placing YouTube Shorts like right before right before we stream, and with the idea that like while somebody's scrolling, it might have the little logo saying like Micah's live right now, and it could get some more viewers in here, you know. Short form content is also just kind of interesting to make, although it's kind of painstaking at times. Like I tried to do this bit where, y'all know the song, it kept coming up in the stream a lot. This Must Be the Place by Talking Heads. I tried doing a bit where Bogard was going through Shedungent, and every time the guitar riff would like every time the little guitar riff sequence would happen, I would do a little bit, like change into a later sequence of the dungeon crawl, and that was happening a lot. It was kind of painstaking for me to go through it all, and it was completely optional for me to do it like that, but it was like a high effort, low reward sort of thing, because out of all my shorts, that one has the lowest views, or the fewest views, but it's also the one I'm most proud of. If you go back and watch it, it's just like, you can see the entire progression of the quest line unfolding in front of you, and it has a really good song playing in the background, but YouTube Shorts are supposed to be attention grabby, you know? It's not supposed to be some artsy-fartsy, you know, guy showing you his favorite 80s band while doing a quest in Daggerfall. Like, that's not what a YouTube Short is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be saying, here's 3 things you need to do to enjoy your time while playing Daggerfall, or here's the best item you can get for your mage, you know? So even that YouTube Short was sort of antithetical to what a YouTube Short is supposed to be. So, but I had a lot of fun with the finished product of that one. Where am I supposed to be going from here? North. Speaking of the YouTube short grind, hold on, I gotta be facing north here. Or actually, we're kind of low on food. Didn't I eat all my supplies? We have an apple left. I've been having a hard time with the like regular content creation part now that I'm like back in the gig and all that. I uploaded the birth sign dilemma, which was a lot of fun to make. And so now I'm working on what I'm calling the birth sign solution, where I talk about this Excel chart that has all the different I don't know, all the different classes that you can roll for each birth sign, with probability stacking 4 of the classes as the most likely, and then 6 of the classes as a little less likely, etc., right? But it's just so hard for me to be in the environment so that I like feel comfortable recording something. Like, my wife has to not be in the room. I have to not be too tired from work that day. I don't know, and I tend to be sort of a perfectionist, which should not be the case, but like I've recorded most of what, like as far as my voiceover is concerned, I've recorded most of what that needs to be, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back and re-record a lot of it just because I was like kind of scatterbrained. It wasn't as clear as I wanted to be, and so like, man, it's honestly really hard to create a finished product that I can be proud of, even if I'm not like trying to be super sweaty try hard about my YouTube channel. I see lights out here. I'm not finding the road very easily, which is kind of making it hard to fast travel. What if we wait till dawn? Yeah, David, I think it's kind of behind. I'm behind on the chat a little bit, but I do use the vanilla skybox. During the Bogard playthrough and Kirstia and all that, I used vanilla enhanced skybox as well. I'm honestly not sure which one I prefer, but this is the one that I stuck with because most of the time I really do love the vanilla skybox. Now the vanilla enhanced one has like Minas and Secunda, which is really cool. The only bad part about the vanilla skybox, in my opinion, is just the blood red, you know, dusk and dawn. Like, it's just kind of weird that was the particular color they went with. I think I might have switched back to the vanilla one because people were talking about like motion sickness being given by the vanilla enhanced, or maybe the inverse is true. Oh, we arrived at our destination. Let's go ahead and we passed up an opportunity like this last time, but let's go ahead and put on, what is it going to be? Do we need true invisibility for a showdown like this? I don't think so. I think we'll just like put on shield and blast these guys. Yeah, I appreciate that, Scouting Spartan. Yeah, lately I've been racking my brain about what other hobby I could have, and I'm like, man, Micah, you don't need any more hobbies. And yeah, the more I obsess over my channel or my social media, the less happy I am generally. I think we're in a good place where we stream once or twice a week. We upload whenever we can, and we throw some shorts out there for fun. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And the thing is, like, I have more subscribers right now than it's like a small amount compared to people who are really serious about YouTube, right? But I have more subscribers now than I ever thought I'd have before, and I'm very grateful for what I have. You know. Oh, whoops! Did I miss or what was that spell effect? I'm not trying to use fire. I meant fire slap. That's why I'm running out of magicka so much. Okay. All right. Oh, this would be a good opportunity for us to use our new spell that we were making at the beginning of the stream. 420 meme number. Hello. Let's go. This is actually really good loot. Fire slap. Don't you dare resist my spell, son of a gun. Cool. Potion of water breathing. That could be useful. It has not come up yet, but the water breathing, the way it works in Daggerfall, where you're just like a lot quicker whenever you're moving underwater, is pretty handy. Yeah, let's go ahead and we're gonna need to rest anyway because of our stamina. Actually, speaking of which, eat some of this food before it goes bad. We're going to use invisibility and our new what did I call it? Mobility? Cat-like reflex, that's right. Need to change the spelling to remove this space to make it consistent. There we go. Sort alphabetically. Yes, please. Cat-like reflexes. So this is climbing, slow fall, and jump all at the same time while we are invisible. There should be some loot piles for us to grab. There we go. Having some fur equipment, because we're going to be wanting to rob Wayrest soon. Okay. And now can I jump? Why can't I jump from here? I have hop on. Come on, let me jump. Oh, dude. Hold on. Okay. Nobody panic. Let's use slow fall. Okay, I have this listed as thaumaturgy. I guess it should be alteration according to my other notes. So let's do that. Gentle fall. Oh, that was kind of scary and completely unnecessary. This whole side adventure was completely unnecessary. It got kind of dicey. Whew. Alright, so that was dumb. I didn't need to put myself in danger like that, but also that spell did not work as I expected. Like, I was hitting the button. Enemies nearby. A Spriggan in this economy? Kind of annoying. Can I get you to come fight these other chaps? Because I really want to be able to rest here, bud. Man, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, okay, so I was talking about that spell I made. Whenever I had my spell of, like, climbing, slow fall, and hop, or jumping activated, I was pressing my jump button, and I was not jumping, and that's kind of what led to that dicey situation there. It's kind of unfortunate. I'm glad nothing really bad happened. Alright. I can't travel with enemies nearby. So, the overland travel, I think I might have had my fill of it. It's kind of, we're only getting opportunities to travel at night. I'm never sure where the road is exactly. Kind of obnoxious right now, to be honest. Okay. We found the road, so I'm going to keep going for a bit longer. It's whenever I don't have the road nearby that, I mean, it's part of the fun, is that, like, finding your way back to the road, I think, is a really cool part of the game. But in this case, the road is green and like everything else is green, and it's like, okay, well, what do I even do to succeed here, you know? Please don't be crashing. Okay. Enemies nearby, so let's put on shields. Yeah, I've had a hard time, like, with all the doom scrolling I'll do, and I'll do it to sort of disassociate. Are y'all familiar with Paul Kingsnorth? I've not read his new book yet. It's called Against the Machine. But what is this? It's kind of strange. It might just be a sort of a issue with the terrain. Anyway, I've not read Paul Kingsnorth's new book yet, but I've seen a bunch of interviews about it, and I hope to read it soon. But anyway, I watched an interview hosted by so Nicholas Kotar, like, interviewed him, and he was talking about how I don't know. He talks about our relationship with the technology, and every time I hear this guy talk, it makes me want to recreate my own relationship with technology, so to speak. So we're going ahead to just go ahead and fast travel here, by the way, so don't mind me. So that's what led to me removing Instagram from my phone. I like tried to log in on my computer, and that's fine too, so I can still like check in on things, but without having access to it in my pocket all the time, because I'll have the impulse to pull out my phone completely unprovoked. Like, I'm not even doing anything, but I'm like, oh, I better go check my phone. Like, I'm not even consciously thinking of it. Or another kind of frustrating thing that I do is I will I'll think, oh, I'm gonna open my phone and I'm gonna go to Firefox and I'm gonna look up this one thing. And so I opened up my phone, and then I go to like check every social that I have, and by then I've forgotten what I want to check on. And I'm like, man, I must be I must be mentally, I don't know. It's just stupid. It makes me feel like an nincompoop. And so I've been trying to be more okay with lower amount of dopamine pretty much all the time, right? And so even in the car, unless Hudson's in the car, I don't listen to music these days. Might have a podcast on, but other times I'm just like sitting there in silence, using it as sort of meditation almost, and focusing on just being aware of my surroundings and things like that. I think this is a Dark Brotherhood hall, so let's try this. You recently bought a brick that disables apps that I mindlessly scroll on. You bought a brick. I have to manually scan your phone back on the physical item to unblock the item. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been wanting something like that like will limit myself, because I've heard of like phones that are made to do that, right? Like the light phone and things like of that nature. But I find a lot of those phones fail in that technology is simply a requirement in many cases. Like at my job, if you don't have the Microsoft Authenticator app, you can't do your job. I don't know. What else? What other examples? Things like navigating from place to place. I like to know where I'm going, but I still use Navigator apps. So you know, let's be real. Spotify, things like that are all reasons why I don't just like switch to a flip phone or something like that. Although, oh, dude. Hold on, let's get a quest before the guards chase us away. Get quest. But yeah, that brick thing that you're mentioning is interesting. I should look into that. Yeah, David, you find yourself drawn to your phone at work when you have a moment. Yeah, you used to read books instead. I'm very much similar in that sense. Like, I'd rather doom scroll whenever I'm at work, whenever I have a moment, or better yet, whenever I'm simply like facing an issue, because I'm in tech support. Whenever I'm facing an issue that either agitates me or confuses me, I will go to my phone instead of like either facing the issue or walking away from my desk. Because there's some merit to just walking away from your desk in situations like that to take a breather. Kind of like if there's a math problem that is stumping you, you want to take a break from that math problem for a while, and you'll often find yourself finding the solution whenever you come back to your desk, right? But instead I just doom scroll and doom scroll and doom scroll, and it's like, that's not a healthy break from screens, you know? Yeah, I agree that distracting ourselves it is part of the world right now. I just want to change that within myself. And yes, welcome back to the stream, Snug Snail. Glad you could make it. So we got guards on our tail in the Dark Brotherhood Hall. That's not good. I brought them there, so that's going to make me kind of look bad. But let's go ahead and get this anonymous job. It happens every now and then that someone pays us to remove someone, but never reveals why. Or maybe even work through a go-between to keep their identity secret. At any rate, the job is yours if you want it. You will need to travel to Mournoth, which is... we're going back to Mournoth? Well, we do have an anchor set there, so that's kind of convenient. I want to get outside to my horse before... Well, dang it. My anchor is set in the Mages Guild, though, so it wouldn't really be prudent to... What would happen to my horse if we if we teleported into the Mages Guild? Would he just be waiting outside? I don't know if I want to find out. But yeah, I'm up for it. You go to the Palace of Mournoth. The target has a scar on his left cheek, and that's all we know. Come back in 12 days. Mephala, bless your blade, Somra. Alright, let's use a recall. Anchor. And I probably should have set this outside, in fact, because of what I just said. Okay. Anchor. And we are in, what's it called? Bowain. Anchor, Bowain, Mournoth. There we go. So let's try to cast a spell again and see what the big deal was. It's called cat-like reflexes. Yeah, it's like I can't jump. Maybe it's because slow fall is active, you can't jump or something. So, I think it's time for me to go ahead and kill this one. Let's go ahead and delete that. You want me to find out? Oh, sorry, scouting. I already wasted that recall and changed it. I should figure that out, but not whenever. I don't know. I feel like that's some sort of testing I want to do off stream. Okay, we're in a position where I can't. Doesn't want me to fast travel for whatever reason. So let's. Quick save, and then let's load the game. I think that usually fixes the issue where I can't fast travel. Okay, we're going to Mournoth Palace. Oh, it's doing it again. Oh, come on, video game. Going the long way. Enjoy my pretty little nature background, alright? There, it's over. Something else, speaking of work, that's new for me is I feel like for months I've been petitioning to get a MacBook. Alright, hear me out. Don't get the pitchforks just yet. One, I don't really like Windows that much these days. Because I'm kind of flirting with Linux most of the time. Let's try this. But we have some executives who use MacBooks, and so I want to be able to support them. Like I've gone into our CEO's office to help him with something one time, and I didn't know what on earth we were doing. Or let's see. I guess I should park my horse out here. So yeah, I was having a hard time. It just feels, I feel like a fool, basically, whenever I'm being asked to support somebody that's on a MacBook and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's happened with our CEO, it's happened with our CFO, and other people. Like I want to know how to navigate operating systems. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be too much to ask for from your tech support, and so I want to be that guy. I want to be good at my job. So, my supervisor, though, before he got fired anyway, was talking about how we're shifting away from having Macs in the company. We want everybody on a Dell computer, things like that. And so it didn't get approved, basically. And I was like, oh, I think it would help me a lot, but whatever, man. All right, so then our company goes through massive layoffs to save money, because that's the trending thing to do right now, you know. Outsource all you're really able to AI in India and Mexico and things like that. So my boss got replaced, basically, or he got fired and nobody else filled his place, but somebody got brought down to our team. I'll spare you the details. Anyway, this person did approve for me to get a MacBook. It's one that was left behind by somebody else in the company, so it was like kind of refurbished. And I'm having the worst time with this thing, man. How do y'all feel about Mac OS? Do you use Mac OS often, or like, is it preferable to Windows to you? Is it preferable to Linux even? You know, what's the deal with it? I think it's some user error on my end. I was getting stuck, like even installing Outlook apps, like Office applications from the Apple Store and things like that. And I was like stupid and didn't pay very good attention to the typos I was making whenever I was setting up the password for it. I never know when to use my password, like my Apple ID password, the laptop's password, or the SSO password. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm with you, James. I've also hated Mac most of the time. But in my line of work, it's like I really need to be better at it. So I think we have guards on our tails, so they're probably going to interrupt our loitering, but the palace isn't open yet. Okay, so your suggestion was setting slow fall effect for like 2 seconds but keep the others longer, so you could use a spell to survive a fall. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. And the other stuff's ready to go. Certainly going to look into having some sort of variation like that. It's a good idea. So how do we know who the guy with the scar is? Is it going to be like an enemy who's ready to go? Or is it going to be... Do you have a scar, buddy? Is this the guy? Loitering does not heal, correct. Not unless you have like a heal over time effect already specified and going. It's pretty rough. It doesn't even heal your fatigue, right? Because fatigue only heals whenever you are... Oh! Okay, there he is. Shield. Let's get white fire. White fire, yeah. I think I just hit the stack of books. Okay, it's working on him now. Hiya. Yeah, so in Daggerfall, your stamina doesn't come back unless you're resting. In Morrowind, your magicka doesn't come back whenever you're resting. And in Oblivion, your health doesn't come back unless you're resting. And all of those got changed like in the next iteration, right? So in Morrowind, your fatigue does come back whenever you're not resting. And then in Oblivion, your magicka does come back whenever you're not resting. And then in Skyrim, your health does come back unless you're whenever you're not resting. It's like kind of silly. Well, they're not all silly. Like, you can see the point for like having your fatigue come back whenever you're standing still. Like, that's fine. And I mean, I think there are some... Okay, fresh scar marked target's left cheek. I think there's a case to be made for having your magicka regenerate. Like, that doesn't seem like that bad of a thing. I don't know. I'm old school. I keep it off. It's fine for me. Okay, where is... Oh, hello. Let's go ahead and get our sugar lumps if it's still in our inventory. Nope. Ah, come on. Okay, and now we recall. Teleport. Making sure I'm pressing the right buttons here. Teleport. Okay. Okay. Our horse is stuck. Yeehaw. Okay. Yeah. Who are you? You're the spy master. I think that's the highest level reward you get, is somebody who just gives you true information. Which apparently is pretty hard to come by in this game. Beautiful Sombra, truly brings tears to these weary eyes. As lovely an accounting as I've ever seen. I feel like writing a poem. Why don't you get the hell out of here so I can write a ballad about it? Seriously, I'm very proud, Sombra. Thank you. Well, can you give me a... Yeah, It would appear that the Dark Brotherhood was wise in recruiting such of you. Our confidence in you has grown, and it is only right to give you an increase in rank with the Dark Brotherhood. Consider yourself, starting today, a full-fledged journeyman. Our chemists have been instructed that you are permitted to buy poisons and potions. So you needn't visit the Mages Guild any longer. Yeah, well, I'm still going to be going there once in a while. I hope you don't mind. I would also like to give you the location of another graveyard. Sure. The ruins of Klolpum Farmstead. Here it is on your map. Thanks. Yeah, we'll check that out. Ruins of Klolpum. Where did they even come up with this? Farmstead. Yeah, RPGs that equate magicka with mental energy or something like that. Yeah, I understand. It doesn't mean I love it necessarily. I get where the developers are coming from. I think I'm kind of just prefer the, like, whenever it's like this where you have spell points that don't regenerate, it feels kind of like Vancian magic in a way, and so it's somehow more familiar to me. Because, like, you have to be careful. You just have to be careful. That's all there is to it. I don't need to elaborate further, I think, for that one. Let's go Ruins of Klol. Wow. Wait, what? It's not on my map? Find... Did I misspell it? He was supposed to put something on my map, but I don't think it's here. There's... Dellen Plantation, Castle Shrugir, Disper Hollow, Conclave, Ruins of Forge Manor. It's kind of a bummer. Hey, this province is shaped kind of like Africa. What do you know? Oh, speaking of which, this whole area, it kind of resembles the Mediterranean, right? Like, you got, you'd have something like Italy, and Greece, Turkey, and Serbia up here, and then down south you'd have Africa in general, and like you could see Sentinel is kind of similar to Egypt or Alexandria, and Daggerfall is something, I don't know, closer to Rome. But then what would be over here? This is where, I believe, where Constantinople would be, but my geography isn't that good. Hey, what is up, Lunar? Better late than never. It's always good to see you here. So, I don't know where that dungeon that he found for me is, but we're just gonna go... Hiya. I do want to do some dungeoneering. I do want to find a place that is inhabited by undead so that we can get a little outpost going. But we are very, very low on stamina. So we're just going to try to rest here a little bit. The guards are going to end up coming for us, and that's okay. We'll be ready. We'll go out spells ablazing. Oh, we've made it. Jumping and climbing increased. Oh, here they go. Yep, here they are. Where's the door? Oop. Ah. Alright, yeah, we made it. We just cast a friendly little levitate to get over this here wall. Yeah, you said Marvin, your experience with the Mac wasn't great, but it was an ancient laptop. This laptop isn't ancient, but it's from like 2022, which is relatively ancient by corporate standards. I don't know what's happening with my controls right now. I'm scared, so dropping a quick save here. And the fact that the MacBook that I'm using is supposed to be like enrolled in our SSO environment and all of that, it adds another like bit of complexity to the situation, because I don't know how that aspect of it is supposed to work. Like, I think it's enrolled correctly and all that, but still. Alright, we have not gone to Conclave of Gerki yet, so let's do that. We're going to camp out. And we're probably going to regret it because we're going to run low on stamina and stuff, but let's do it. What else has been doing with me this week? So last time I kind of asked an open question about how everybody feels about Christmas music and things like that. And I have found my niche. Hey, do y'all know a young man by the name of Nat King Cole? He's like a old young man is sarcastic. He was way, way before my time, and he has like a really, I think he was a jazz musician. There's a lot of really, really great music out there, and all of his like Christmas music is like absolute top notch. So on the way to church today, I was listening to his Christmas album instead of just doing piecemeal like songs here and there. Just sent all of it. I also found out that songs about baby Jesus make me want to cry, so that's cool. Like Silent Night, it just knocks me out. It makes me teary eyed every time. Oh Holy Night makes me teary eyed every time. Little Town of Bethlehem, don't get me started, man. I'm such a little I'd call myself a baby, but really ever since Easter, ever since Pascha, it's been super easy for me to get completely overwhelmed by joy and gratitude, and for me to get teary-eyed. Like, I'll be like, after my son and I go through the communion line, I'll be watching other families go up there. I just get teary-eyed looking at them do it, you know? I get teary-eyed listening to songs about baby Jesus. It's so easy, so easy to get me there. And I feel like I don't cry out of sadness that often whenever I probably should, but I'll cry out of like joy and gratitude at the drop of a hat. You know, I'll see like a squirrel nearby and get teary-eyed. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but that's how it is. But yeah, Nat King Cole, that's the way to go for Christmas music, I guess. I think like the negative association that I've had with Christmas music in the past is like, one, I was an atheist for a very, very long time. But also, in general, modern music is so busy and overproduced that it's hard to enjoy any of it. And I'm realizing that I did not set my anchor in town, so that kind of sucks. So I'm gravitating to like Elvis and Nat King Cole because it's not overproduced and busy, basically. Said your cat gave birth the other day? It's your first time dealing with that? How big was the litter? How many kittens does that involve? Oh, 5 little kittens. Yeah, I should have just paid attention. Cool. How do you take care of that many animals at a single time? Because I have 3 dogs, and they kind of drive me crazy. And those are like high-stakes sort of things, you know? Young animals are so fragile. How do you take care of that many at a time? I had a cat one time that I loved and respected greatly. Oh, no, I took fall damage there. Shoot. Do we fast travel to the Conclave? Look at this. Oh, dude. Oh, man. That sucks. We were about to die to fall damage. We're just going to go ahead and do this. Oh, man. I meant to do cautious travel. Yeah, that's a Daedra. Okay, I don't know if that's indicative of what we're going to find in the dungeon, but if we have Daedra in the dungeon, that's going to be kind of scary. The dungeon is south of us. Got to keep that in mind. Yeah, I wanted to do... well, first, let's just set an anchor here, because I don't think it's anywhere else. I could be wrong. Anchor. But, like, if we get into a tussle with a Daedroth and we have to bail, we need to be able to bail. Period. Let's try to use true invisibility to sneak in here. I don't know if that's how this will work. It's also the dead of night, so it's entirely possible that I cannot find the dungeon. We gotta be on our guard here, because he might... Oh, he sees us. Oh! Oh, we made this... we saved the spell. My goodness. Daedroths are so scary, but you know what? We're pretty strong. We could probably do it. Let's turn on candle. Okay, focus, Micah, focus. Let's turn on candle. Let's turn on resist shock, because apparently he's slinging shock spells at us. Okay, here's the entrance to the dungeon. Come on. Very scary. Very scary. Oh man, this is. I just heard rats. That's not what we want. High Rock and Hammerfell are literally Europe. They traced the shape and changed it a little. I love it. I also love that, Marvin. And I was thinking today about this paradigm where often Morrowind is like put on sort of a pedestal for not just being generic Europe. I like generic Europe. I like generic fantasy Europe. You know, like I have. That's what my culture is used to. That's like the mythology that makes sense to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, generic fantasy Europe. So I think that's part of why I love Daggerfall and Oblivion so much. I love Morrowind too, don't get me wrong. But it's a little bit harder to get into sometimes, I think, because it tries to be so alien. Do we... Oh, man... I was not really caring to do another low-level dungeon here. I got super scared by the Daedroth outside, and then got underwhelmed by just like the hordes of animals inside. Dispel, no, not dispel. We want candle, and we're gonna just combust. Let's get all of our ducks in a row here. Bop. 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 But, I mean, if we're looking for a hideout, then this would be the easiest one to attain. I was just hoping to stock the hideout, basically, with, you know, with undead. Yeah, I mean, Fantasy Europe is fantastic. This is like, what is it called? The Romance of Alexander, Iliad, Troy, like, Iliad and the Aeneid and the Odyssey, like, it all has its roots in, I mean, to be fair, the Iliad, I guess, is Asia Minor. Excuse me. But yeah, I used to think, like, oh, that's bad because it's just generic, but, like, yeah, it's quite ubiquitous with my experience, and so it's, yeah. I'm currently unwell. Okay, well, let's get that. Well, let's look at our potion menu before we do that. So this was the cost of taking some hits from some animals. Purification, yeah, cure disease, less expensive, so let's use that. Go ahead and set this up. Before we cook, actually, let's go and first recall anchor just to make this more convenient. I'm afraid that some of the meat down here will go bad by the time we're done cooking. So we're gonna go do this. Moldy raw meat. Moldy raw meat. Smelly raw meat. Smelly raw meat. Smelly raw meat. Moldy raw meat. Yeah, we really need a wagon. We might just make this dungeon our home base. We get in here, hunker down a little bit, and we use knock number 2, and we get 2 bandages. Oh wow, I can't even carry 2 bandages. That's cute. Let's get, yeah, recall. That's right. Teleport. Just kind of saved us a trip, basically. And now we go on a little cooking frenzy. I've got a 32-ounce can of Shiner going. It's that same strategy where it feels like I can have beer for one night, but then I won't have a 6-pack sitting in the fridge. So, enjoying some of that while we cook here. Yeah, I mean, Morrowind has a... I think especially once you've played Morrowind a ton, it starts to feel a bit more at home. Like the Telvanni mushroom towers, like those are all really cool ideas. what's interesting about Morrowind, if I'm going to explain this in um, I'm not going to try to explain my explanation. It feels like a culture that exists on the margin. If the Imperial province of Cyrodiil and Daggerfall have been the norm for the players, all of a sudden you go to this place that's very, very far east with cultures that are pretty foreign, although there is like that colonizing aspect of it that makes some of it feel like home, so to speak, or makes some of it feel like Rome, wink wink. But in Morrowind, the culture that is bizarre and sort of monstrous and sits on the margin is made the center, and it takes a while to get used to that setup. By the way, speaking of Morrowind, I've been excited to dive into it lately, but I'm trying to determine, I think I'm pretty determined by now to play with the survival mod, because Lunar, you were so adamant about Ashfall being great, and is it called Sun's Dusk or Sunfall or something like that? I've seen good reviews about it. People speak of it pretty highly, the open Morrowind version of that sort of mod. So I think I'm going to go for it. But I need to make the user interface look good. Right now I haven't found a way for it to look or feel good just yet. I'm on the way to finishing my follow-up to the birth sign dilemma video. I mean, I'm not really quite done yet. It'll probably be a few days. But I plan on making some test characters by the end of that video, right? And then I will sort of... one of those test characters will probably be the character that I start with for my, Ironman playthrough of Morrowind. So I'm putting off starting Morrowind again until, one, I've figured out the way that I like that user interface to be, and two, whenever I've finished making that other video. Let's see. Oh yeah, after dropping all this stuff that was weighing me down, can get a lot more reps in with this staff. Yes, Lunar, you you converted me into survival mod user for Morrowind. Spartan, I will address that question as soon as we're done with this little bat situation we got going on here. Look at this. Oh, what? Whoa. No, I want to cast recall. Teleport. Why am I almost dead? What happened there? Okay. Hold on. Okay. Let's chill out a little bit. I guess fighting 15 bats at once can be dangerous, even whenever you're like level 12. Okay, we anchor. We shield. And we fire blast through the door. Did I get hit by my own AoE spell, or was I just getting hit by a bunch of bats at the same time? You know what I mean? Alright, we cooked some bats on the spot. Yeah, this is a pretty satisfying room after all that. Okay. Okay, hey, Pinwriter, what's up, man? Yeah, maybe the spells got reflected by some magic bats. That would honestly be pretty cool if we had some stronger, animal variants in here. Okay, Spartan, it's not too personal for me to address my conversion. It's my favorite, talking about my faith is one of my favorite topics. So, basically, the reason why I deconverted from Christianity was pretty bad from the beginning. It was basically because I couldn't resolve why so much suffering was allowed in the world whenever my great-grandmother died of cancer. Instead of... I should have just read the book of Ecclesiastes or Job, alright? That stuff is handled very, very swimmingly in scripture, but instead I just kind of like got into that whole edgy atheist of like God is a bad guy and you've been deceived sort of mentality, right? I lived like that for a very long time, but I had a good friend named Lucas who was a witness to me throughout all of my life, basically. He was always reminding me about God being around the corner and things like that, God's influence in our lives. And I made all those, snide remarks about Sky Daddy that you tend to get from the edgy atheist sorts like I was. What happened after that? Basically, whenever I was younger, I was on probation from stealing Magic the Gathering cards from Walmart, so I could no longer do my drug of choice, which was marijuana. And so I started doing harder drugs. And whenever I was doing these harder drugs, I basically just mean like LSD, whatever knockoff street version was popular around me, and some mushrooms here and there. I started being convinced that there was more to life than just the five senses. The way that conscious reality felt whenever you were in this state was so radically different from what can be traced empirically that I was no longer like sold on the whole imperialist paradigm. But I still thought that, Christianity's God was just super bad and evil, and so I couldn't do that. And I was dating a pagan at the time, and so I was a Wicca, how do you say it? I was a Wicca, or I was Wiccan for a while. I was a pagan for a while because I was yearning for some sort of liturgical lifestyle, but it could not be Christianity. Like, I just hated God, basically. And basically, I had a very intense mushroom trip where during the peak, I was very, very terrified. It was after I'd been a practicing pagan for a couple of months. And I felt like I was in some sort of cosmic tug of war between like my old god, Jesus, and my present god at that time, I was really fond of Bacchus, Dionysus. Someone previously pointed out, what's that term? I forgot it already. Whenever you choose to worship one god, even though you believe in a pantheon, that's kind of how I was with Dionysus. I felt like I was in some sort of cosmic tug of war, based on the way that the sky looked at the time, basically. And so that's part of what makes this testimony feel sort of wacky, is like, well, it was drug-induced. I don't want to make it seem like that. But in addition to this experience where I was like really, really freaking out because of the drugs I was on, and the only consolation to me was given by Christ, I had this weird experience because I actually ended up calling emergency services on myself because I thought I was going to die. And then I got scared because the cops are going to arrest me, and I hung up the phone, right? They called me back, actually, to get my address, and like, this guy's not okay, let's go help him. So Deputy Lowe from San Augustine County is who showed up, and once he realized that I was not a threat, he arranged for an ambulance to escort me to the hospital. On the way, I had some fever dreams, so to speak. And eventually, honestly, there is a period where the nurses were working on me, and I was so out of it that I really thought that they were like demons already torturing me because I was like on my way to hell or something like that. Which is not a pretty experience. And then whenever I became lucid, there was like a crucifix on the wall, and Jesus was there looking down at me like a loving but disappointed father. And I didn't become Christian that day, but it certainly did not help to keep me pagan or atheist. So that, in addition to a lot of other experiences of grace, made me like, if I were to go on as an atheist or a pagan in that situation, I would have felt delusional. And so I became sort of not even a Bible thumping Christian, but I was nominally Christian. But I didn't want to read the Bible because that would I was afraid it would make me lose my faith some. Because, you read the Old Testament, you read about like what the Israelites do to the Canaanites, you read about what happened to the children of those people, and it just, I didn't want to be that like angry at God again. So I didn't read the Bible for a while. I didn't go to a church for a while, but eventually I started reading the Bible, but I wouldn't go to a church. And, I just always had a reason to not really commit myself, until finally, I went to a denominational church with my in-laws until I found the Orthodox Church, and the rest is kind of history. But to answer your question more concisely, Spartan, I became a Christian because I would have, after all of my experiences, I would have felt completely delusional to go on as anything but a Christian. Um, there's a poem that Paul Kingsnorth, this is that author I mentioned earlier. By the way, Paul Kingsnorth spent like 5 or 6 years as a practicing Buddhist, but he felt that there was something that was missing, which was pretty much God. And then he was a Wiccan for several years after that. And he had a very similar, but he was more indoctrinated, I guess, or more initiated into the religion than I was. But he had another close experience with Christ that made him convert against his better judgment. He says like he was brought out of paganism against his better judgment, basically. And he refers to a poem called The Hound of Heaven, which describes I relate to it a lot, but I'm going to say it describes his relationship with Christ, where Christ kept hounding him until he finally gave in, basically. So for many of us, it's just close encounters with Christ that do it for us. And, people like Jay Dyer have a lot of fantastic arguments for God's existence and, why the Orthodox Church is true and things like that. But ultimately, for most of us these days, it's going to be a close encounter with Christ himself that does it for us, and anything else is going to be kind of like, I hope something else will get your foot through the door. An encounter with Christ can be scary and, things like that, but it's the most beautiful thing as well. Yeah, that's a very long ramble. But an experience with Christ will do it for you, It changes everything and you never want to turn back. Yes, David, the term I was looking for whenever I was describing my relationship with Bacchus is henotheism. Yeah, it's like, even though I believed in the pantheon, I was really into Greek poetry and stuff like that at the time. I pretty much only had any, like, worship toward Bacchus, which is a super dumb thing to do. I'm sorry, I might be offending some of the, but, like, if you read the Bacchanalia and, like, Greek poetry, like, he drives people crazy. he it's like that madness. It's kind of like he inspired Sheogorath or something, but he'll drive you mad. Like, why did I want that? I don't get it. Okay, I'm getting caught up on chat in the middle of a dungeon. Not a good idea. Oh, yeah, Lunar, thank you for your message about, my granny. She was, very close to us all, but, I don't know how to describe it. We were from Houston, right? Whenever you're from Houston, you get cancer. That's what you do. That's no way about it. Everybody in the family worked for LyondellBasell, which is like a industrial chemical plant. Stealth, dodging, running, illusion, blunt weapon, critical strike. The thing is, like, God moves in suffering as well as in joy, and so I don't know how to describe it. I had great Christians around me at the time. I mean, arguably you could say, like, oh, they were Protestant, so this or that, but no, my grandfather was faithful. Like, I had a very devout family. I didn't need to be as, like, hateful as I was at the time, but for some reason, whenever I was, like, really struggling to cope with my great-grandmother's death, I either wasn't listening or nobody pointed out all of the ways that, like God's providence includes suffering necessarily. Like, we live in a fallen world. God's providence includes suffering necessarily. I mean, whoa, Micah, hold on. I'm being stupid over here. Like, I remember one time I was hanging out with my friend Aaron whenever I lived in Colorado, and he's Jewish, and he said that he's an atheist because the Holocaust happened, and so, like, God can't be real because suffering happened. And I'm like, well, dude, like, you're going to suffer and peoples are going to suffer, and that is bad, of course, 100%, but God didn't cause that. God, lets people have free will so that we're not slaves, and then we choose to cause suffering, and we can even find joy in our sorrow through Christ. You know, it's but nobody talks about this, and like at least nobody that I talked to at that time was willing to express this to me whenever my our family was being torn apart by our matriarch dying, but it's just part of it. And whenever I entered the Orthodox Church, you learn about the martyrs from like day one, basically, these people who bled so that the faith could live on. Or more recently, I know a lot of in public education we put a lot of emphasis on the Holocaust, but I think that the Bolshevik Revolution led to just as much suffering for Christians as like World War II did for Jews. And after World War I, there was terrible persecution of Armenian Christians by the Ottoman Turks. Like suffering is just kind of part of it, and you that doesn't mean to stop believing in God. That means to call on Him even more. you know. I feel so bad for little 13-year-old Micah, though. I really do, because I was such a devout little child. I really look back fondly to what my faith was like back then. It was so simple, and not in a belittling sense, but like, there's bits in the gospel where Christ talks about if you're not like one of these children, you're not going to make it into the kingdom of heaven. And like, that's who I was. I had that. It's so cool whenever children just earnestly love God and understand that our experience is tied to Him ineffably. It's so cool, man. And now you have to go through all these apologetics and sometimes like some mental gymnastics to make it work in your brain on bad days. Whatever, back then it just came so naturally. So I feel really bad for little 13-year-old Micah, not just for like all the other reasons that we haven't gotten into yet, but because like, I don't know, I wish I could be there for him. Let's hop away from this barbarian. Yeah, Spartan, I've been wanting to make a video about my conversion story, just because it's such a big deal to me, and I don't know, you never know who's going to hear that and decide to go against their better judgment and check out their local church. Part of the reason why I hated Christianity, or the thought of being a Christian for so long, is I was scared of being perceived as stupid, and now I welcome it. If somebody wants to think that I'm stupid or simple, please humble me some, but yeah, I've been wanting to put my story out there some. There will come a day whenever I write it all down, and then put it into like some video where I'm playing Daggerfall in the background and talking about my conversion. I could just clip this stream, but I want to do it in a more thoughtful, articulate way than what I did just now. I'm glad you get some experience, some joy out of that, Lunar. I've probably mentioned it before, but I'm sometimes a little bit self-conscious to talk about my faith because, like, nobody wants to be preached at. So, hopefully, the description of a lived experience is not so obnoxious as browbeating, because we've all had enough of that. There have been plenty of atheists made out of browbeating. Man, can I, while we're talking about my experiences, I really miss this one friend that I have. Whenever I lived in a different town before moving and buying this house, we hung out with each other quite a lot. He went to church with me one time. But I don't know, something's between us right now, and we only live like half an hour away, but I never get to see the guy. And I can't help but wonder if part of it, I could be paranoid, but I can't help but wonder if part of it is because he doesn't want to get preached at. But I was always just like answering questions whenever he had it. We'd go on runs together and just kind of be bros. We used to smoke together whenever I was into that. But now I remember I invited him to come to Pascha with us, because it's like a midnight service whenever you go to like an Easter service in the Orthodox Church. It's really fascinating and beautiful. And he's like, yeah, well, this guy came in and evangelized at me all day, so the last thing I want to do is go to church. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, man, but I thought that you knew that we weren't like that. But I guess it's all the same to him. But yeah, I really miss that guy. Hope I can see him soon. Yeah, I'm still a little bit afraid of it, David, because like I have like I'm still afraid of being derided because of my faith, because it's like I have one brother who is a he's like I think atheist or agnostic or something, but I can tell that he's still like really opposed to like religion as a whole, it seems like. And I have another one who's a transgender Marxist atheist sort, and so like my oldest brother, he like is kind actively, I'm a little bit sensitive to it because he thinks that I want to persecute him and I think that he wants to persecute me, and so it's going to be kind of weird at Christmas because of this little relationship, and I'm going to be tempted to have this feeling like I need to explain myself, and I hope that I don't fall for that, because that's really not how it is. I should probably just hang out and answer any questions that he has. But yeah, I'm getting a bit better. It's doing this right now is kind of like exposure therapy for, not being self-conscious about your faith, because sometimes I have like every time I see a drop in my subscriber count, I'm like, oh, this person doesn't like that I'm talking about the Orthodox Church so much and things like that. But like, that's probably not the case. And then my numbers will go up next week after I upload, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, this is kind of like exposure therapy for that. But the Beatitudes will really set you straight, right? Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all sort of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, right? So we got to own it. Let me get back to a rest site. I think my fire blasts are really messing myself up until fully healed. You empty your sack of rations. Well, that's not good. Although I think this barbarian had some rations. I thought I saw someone here. Hold on. In regards to Bacchus, gods of very vast spirits and such have many spheres and domains. God of androgyny, of ecstatic pleasure, maddening hedonism, and other things like that elude you right now, since I worship Diana henothetically. Oh, Diana's like the huntress, right? That's cool. Yeah, I see what you mean. How do I describe this, like, I don't know. Whenever I was really into Bacchus worship, one, I had no clue what I was doing. I was just kind of following the lead with this girlfriend who I was in a long-distance relationship with, so I was really out in the middle of nowhere. But I guess I was really into it for the, like, ecstatic pleasure sort of sense, and I thought that I was going to be protected from that madness. Yeah, Pinrider, whenever you say if you have his contact, just make a call. I have been several times trying to organize, like, let's go play pickleball together, let's go on a run together, all those things that we used to do. It's just not lining up, and I'm kind of tired of trying, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it feels whenever you kind of feel rejected by a friend? That's kind of where I am with this guy, and I'm just not really into putting myself out there right now on that specific front. So whenever he wants to hang out with me, he'll come around. Besides that, it's all good. I have a little book of people I pray for. Not that anything specific happens to them, but it's like a Lord have mercy sort of thing. And he'll just stay there, and I'll see him whenever I see him, you know what I mean? It's all good. Let's go ahead and slow fall. I know that there have been some humans around here who have rations for us to pilfer. Okay, so, hold on. I'm trying to get to a safe spot where I can keep reading chat. Oh! Did it again. I'm gonna die from fall damage with this character, I swear. He said, your biggest issue for being a Christian yourself is that you were raised Catholic. You got mad whenever your City of Gold is asking for donations, and I think they need to do more. Yeah, I understand. Well, Scouting Spartan, you say you're Christian, but being Catholic is a challenge for me. Have you considered the one holy Catholic and Apostolic United Church called the Orthodox Church? I'm going to quit being too preachy about it because David's here, and he's oh, you're a convert from Protestantism. I might have mentioned this before, but my friend who's Roman Catholic is who introduced me to non-Protestantism. I'm very much indebted to him because he's pretty much why I became Orthodox. but I don't know what you mean by your city of gold. Because I'm sure that the Catholic parishes find their situation in this like this as well. But you remember a few streams ago, I was like, hey, if you want to donate to my channel, please use the Tithely link because that'll go to my church. I can't really afford to donate that much, so if you could do it for me, that'd be great, right? There is an element of like we need operational costs to be covered and things like that. So sometimes operational costs will include planting other churches if your current church is like good to go. You know what I mean? So I wonder if there is a good cause that that stuff is going toward. But I also agree with you, like part of why like I have friends and family who are really adamantly opposed to Christianity, and part of that is like so much of Christianity is like a business, you know what I mean? My church desperately needs operational costs, but then you have like mega churches that are raking it in, man, like completely. It just seems like they're grifters, you know, and that's not a good look for Christianity. Yeah, so it's kind of obnoxious that you have some churches that are they create the frustration that you're describing, where like, well, we just need to quit asking for so much money from people, and then there are other churches that really are struggling to get by, and like, how do you reconcile these two realities, you know? Why are these guys not reacting? There they go. I'm not even using my invisibility on them. Hey guys, come on, chase after me. All right. Yeah, my parish is also just trying to cover the basics. We have enough to get by without a priest, but whenever we have a priest on salary, we're not going to, you know, Lord willing, if and when that happens, we're not going to have enough money in the bank to like last very long. Are we doing the AoE? I mean to be doing the AoE. Okay, let's go ahead and recall. Teleport. Rest till fully healed. Oh, okay, Spartan, you're referring to Vatican City. Your family was poor whenever you were younger. We couldn't donate, and everyone judged us for it. Not the... oh, yeah, I'm with you. The adults in a parish can be, like, a huge stumbling block in general. Right now, I'm struggling with not necessarily that, but I won't get into it. I don't know how to describe that. My parish is pretty understanding about, like, yeah, they're going to ask for money, especially during like our annual meeting where we're describing like our finances and things like that. So that does happen, but there's also kind of an understanding that we have a lot of young families who are having trouble just making ends meet. You know what I mean? By the way, I'm going to go back to, oh shoot, is that Danger still out here? Yeah, he is. Let's go cast Recall, Anchor. Yeah, okay. I have an appetite for more questing. Yeah, so to answer your question, Lunar, aren't mega churches kinda anti-biblical, antithetical to what Jesus said? I think if you read like the last chapter of the Gospel according to St. Mark, you're going to see Jesus telling the disciples to go out and baptize people in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and you know, to make disciples out of them. And so the mega churches are very confident that what they're doing is ordained and good. You know, whether they are correct in thinking that is up for debate, perhaps. But yeah, I think that the way it's done today, it is all very much like, I don't know, whenever your church feels like a business, instead of just people, like the pastors should be able to break even on salaries and things like that, but some mega church pastors are like ridiculously wealthy, and I'm completely with you there, where like that's antithetical to what Christ taught, you know? A parish in this context is like, I don't know, somebody can help me describe it better, but it's, to me, it means like your local church. But you typically hear parish used in traditional church settings like Orthodoxy, Catholicism, and possibly like Lutheranism or Anglicanism. But it just means your local church, if I want to put it in layman's terms. So to go to your other comment, Lunar, what did you say? You got to establish proper practice and boundaries with the God you choose to worship. All right. Forgive me if this feels over the line, but this is how my experience was. I felt more like I was the God's plaything than like his creature that he loved and cherished. And like I was a mouse with a cat above me. And the cat was, you know, entertaining. I was entertaining the cat for a while, but at any moment he could gobble me up, and that's kind of how it feels to me for anything that's not Christianity, basically. And I hope that it doesn't offend too much, but that's just the impression I get. Like if I set boundaries to Bacchus, I can say like, hey, this is how I want to worship you and stuff like that. That's not going to stop him from driving me completely crazy and making me want to stab my family. You know, because that's what we see in like the Bacchanalia texts. I don't remember the exact play that I'm thinking of. It's the one where there's a coven of women who live in the wilderness who kill people that are let out there, basically. I'm waiting for this guy to die so I can like rest. Hey, Mildred, you approve of this? Thank you. Can't say long. Yeah, thanks, Mildred. I'm glad this this stuff helps you go to sleep. One time, pretty recently, there was a comment on my Acrobat aesthetic video where they said, this content's great. I fell asleep in seconds. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you like it, but is inducing sleep what I need to do? Like, it's not very stimulating. Maybe that's the point. You know, it's kind of helping to declutter the mind such that you can go to sleep. The green dude is doing some power walking. What's up? Bunnies, we're gonna pack this up. A Cube, a spiritual successor for Daggerfall. You know, they say Wayward Realms is in the pipeline, and it's a few years out, I'm sure. I would say if you want a spiritual successor to Daggerfall, play Daggerfall Unity. You can make it whatever gaming experience you want, my man. It is so cool. You'll never get enough of it. It's all you'll want to play. Maybe somebody else can give a more serious stab at that address, but really though, I can't imagine. These are humanoids. Do I want a humanoid dungeon? Hold on, sip of the old ale here. Yeah, Spartan, thank you. I do appreciate the idea of having a soothing voice, and I don't know. I think the content in general on my channel is not very overstimulating or like clickbaity. You know what I mean? Which can make it a bit more attractive to the common viewer, to the average viewer. Since we don't have I'm gonna set an anchor on top of this dungeon. Recall, anchor. Oh no, we're out of rations. That's right. We really need to be careful right now. Shoot. Oh yeah, tinnitus. David, do you say tinnitus or tinnitus? Because one time I was listening to an audiobook where the person said tinnitus. I thought it was super goofy. But the itis suffix means inflammation, and this is not an inflammation, so it shouldn't be that bad. Why am I setting up camp? I meant to use the other item. Don't tell me my sugar lumps are gone again. Damn it, dude. Yeah, I can see how some calming YouTube could help your tinnitus and going to sleep and stuff like that. Let's quick save. I use a white noise machine personally, but I would like to one day not really need to rely on that too much. There I go again, getting all obsessed about self-improvement instead of just being where I am. Hold on. Somebody else mentioned Devil Spire Falls. I need to look into that because I don't really know about that one. James, can you tell me more about Devil Spire Falls? Because I don't know about that. The successor of Daggerfall really is Daggerfall. All right. Yeah, I appreciate that, Lunar. Gotta put a red arrow on the random thing the dude marking. Yeah. I say tinnitus. Yeah, I think the audiobook I was listening to had a British person saying tinnitus. It's a little bit different dialect. Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode can feel like Daggerfall, you say. Or it can scratch the itch, rather. Wait, we passed a lodge? Kind of like a voxel Daggerfall. Where is this place? I'm really scared of my... Okay, we arrived. Okay. Man, this is cozy whenever you have a little place next to the dungeon that you could go to restock it. I don't know if we can just restock here if we're just getting food and water and stuff, but... Okay, well that sounds cool. We're under arrest. Surprise, surprise. Drink. I guess this is a bad time to get a drink. Let's put on shield 2. Whoop. Oh! Whoop. Okay. You can choose the size of the world you generate. That's really cool. Now we just need a game that lets us customize the size of the dungeons. Alright, if we had huge Daggerfall dungeons, medium Daggerfall dungeons, honestly a scale of 5 from like regular cemetery to smaller dungeons to medium to like medium plus and then default dungeons, that would be so fantastic. Yeah, that sounds sweet. I hope I can remember to look that up after this. What'd you call it? Let me go scroll up. Just write that down. Devil Spire Falls. Speaking of spires, I'm still trying to detox myself off of Slay the Spire, because I have such a bad habit of playing that game into like the wee hours of the night, or whenever I should be doing something else like editing videos and stuff like that. But I'm pretty much stuck at Ascension 10 with all of my, all the characters. We got to level 13, folks. Well, we have 6 points to distribute to. Should we put 2 points into it? Nah, we're doing the slow burn. I do want to level up speed kind of aggressively. No, I don't. Come on. Slow burn, Micah. Endurance. Willpower. Luck. Let's throw another point into willpower to get us to the next little threshold there. Yeah, Spartan, I do see myself recording other games. I've mentioned it sort of in passing before, but I see myself playing Morrowind very soon in the future. There's also a game that I'm interested in trying. I have some trepidation about it, but I want to play Road Warden on the channel. It's like a text-based RPG that seems exceedingly cozy. We need to go to a store first and Dark Brotherhood second. So Road Warden is like a text-based RPG, so it feels kind of like I'll just be reading a lot for it, but like we've discussed already in this stream, my channel is like a place for coziness, it seems like, and so maybe it'll feel like an audiobook that has some RPG elements to the listener, you know what I mean? So I'm interested in trying Road Warden. Yeah, Morrowind is... I'm gonna play it like an Ironman game. Man, come on, let me buy some dang rations. I'm just kind of working out the kinks for my mod setup right now. Specifically, just making sure that I know how to use this survival mod that I have installed for Morrowind, OpenMW. And, you know, once... I think it would be cool. I'm not, like, guaranteeing or anything. But I think it would be cool if one day I play, like... and finish all 4 of the non-arena Elder Scrolls games like Iron Man style. You know, you complete the main quest without dying. I don't know if I'll ever do that for Skyrim, because I have such difficulty with the difficulty in Skyrim. Because I want to play on expert mode instead of apprentice, but then I die a lot, you know? It's not a lot, but not infrequently, and I don't know if I'd ever be able to complete the game on expert mode unless I really start, like, leave some of my role-playing behind for the sake of like being good at surviving the game. I do have Tamriel rebuilt and Home of the Nords for Morrowind, but I play Open MW Cube, so I don't have Ashfall. That one was recommended by Lunar, and Lunar's kind of persuaded me to have a survival mod here. There's some of that. We need to get some rations though. That's a different skirt. Yeah, let's add a new color skirt to the collection. Sure. Spare campsite would be good, but might be a luxury that we can't afford with our current capacity. We're here for rations, Micah. Don't forget. Are cozy games the same as chill? Yeah, I'm not sure about what defines a cozy game either. I don't know what defines a chill game either. Maybe it's just because I don't know. I think there are some games that cannot be that cozy, like, you know, a modern Call of Duty game probably is not that cozy. I could be wrong. But then your playstyle in other games can impact whether or not it's cozy. Because by all means, like Daggerfall, like hardcore mode should not be that cozy with all the close calls we get into and stuff like that, but it still ends up being like that because of the playstyle and the atmosphere and stuff like that. No, 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 no. Let's run past the guards. Yeah, Marvin, Sun's Dusk is the mod that I'm trying to figure out. I currently, like, I'm scared of starting an Ironman playthrough of Morrowind and then just not knowing how to navigate the survival mod, you know what I mean? And then I die a lot because I'm bad at the survival mods. So that's what I'm trying to not do too much of. Alright, here's an amusing account that may appeal to your morbid sense of humor. Seems there is an untalented bard with a penchant for rude limericks about former patrons. As it turns out, his knowledge of genealogy was lacking, and he sang a song about an incestuous duke to his new patroness, the duke's daughter. Instead of accounting this uncouth artiste, are you interested in accounting this one for this much money? You'll need to go to the Scolrius web, which is 5 days to the southeast. Yeah, man. Yeah, send me to Scolrius, bro. The Scolrius web. Put a little question mark by that one because we couldn't find it on the map. See, tempo helps coziness because you can choose the general. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. You can choose the general tempo where the action games force you into it. That's a good point. Cozy is a game where you just feel at home. Yeah, I like that too. All very good points. I thought it would appeal. Apparently the bard is aware of the contract and is hiding out in a dismal hole called the Scolrius web. Shouldn't be more than a minor scuffle. Do not let your guard down. A desperate youngster can be an unpredictable adversary. Be back in 13 days. Alright. You say you prefer devilish needs. You like the survival aspects in games, but prefer a more shallow level of depth overall for that. Alright. Let's see. Devilish needs. I've heard that one also. I should really look into this because if it's a bit more user-friendly, not user-friendly, but I like that you're describing it as shallow, like not a negative sense, but that like it won't be so demanding and engrossing of my attention as I play the game, but will remind me to eat and drink and stuff like that. I said an anchor. Yep. Yeah, because the whoop. What is it called? What's the other one I was talking about? Sun's Dawn or something like that. Is it's aggressively detailed, man. Like they have. I remember reading that whenever like certain areas are more humid than others in Sun's Dawn, which makes sense, and so you dry off more quickly in those areas. And I'm like, dang, dude, this guy was really, really into figuring this stuff out. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure it makes for a great experience, but it's a little bit intimidating because I don't want to, like, I want to play Morrowind, but I don't want to figure out how to use this mod. But what's been really fun is to test my mod setup. I have this, I made a default class Scout who is born under the side of this sign of the steed, and so he has like base 75 speed at level 1, and that just feels so good, you know? I love having a high speed in Morrowind, it's awesome. Dwarf Fortress is a game that I always thought that I'd be interested in, but it's so intimidating to me. Same for, what's the other one? I get recommended to play it all the time. You can play it as like in a solo adventure game or an RTS. Man, it's really slipping my mind. I'm sorry for even bringing it up. But yeah, there are some games that just, it seems like the learning curve will take so long that I just don't touch it. Kenshi. That's the other game that is, it seems so complex that I don't even want to bother trying to learn it. Which sucks because I bet I'd really enjoy it. So you don't manage your diet in real life, but you will in video games? Yeah, that's fair enough. Man, it's so dark. Yeah, I first started doing that in Oblivion. I've never had a survival mod in Oblivion, but it's just kind of nice to, like, in the morning you eat this, in the evening you eat that. Maybe keep some beer or ale in your inventory, not for drinking to get any sort of effect, but just for the flavor of it. Okay, enemies are trying to prevent our travel. There's spiders out here, it says. Let's get a candle going, because I think we found the dungeon. Did not know there's an arachnophobia mod for DFU. Yeah, I've heard of the arachnophobia mod. I'm not sure what it does, but it replaces the... Oh, I'm sorry. I think we're going to a spider-filled dungeon right here. Bunnies. Yeah. For games like Kenshi or Dwarf Fortress, I believe I'd be better off watching some stuff on YouTube before playing it. But that's like directly opposed to how I like to play games. I want to play a game blind. Okay, so here's the dungeon finally. So it's like I'm either gonna have a bad time playing the game because I don't learn about it beforehand, or I'm going to learn about it beforehand and I'm gonna not enjoy it so much because it's not a blind experience, you know? I'm just kind of a diva, I guess. Oh wait, we wanted to use Whitefire Blast, yeah. Oh, what? Hey, look, a bat joined the fray. When you said go with Kenshi over... Oh, whenever you said DF, I thought you meant Daggerfall, and I'm like, I will never choose a video game over Daggerfall, thank you, but you meant Dwarf Fortress. The good thing about Kenshi is I also already own it. It's in my Steam library, just sitting there, you know? One of those games where it just sits in my Steam library forever. Yeah, Spartan, whenever you stop fast traveling in, like, especially smaller games like Oblivion, Morrowind, of course Morrowind has Silt Striders and all sorts of really cool ways to fast travel. But yeah, in Oblivion in particular, whenever you don't fast travel, the game feels much more satisfying. Especially because you'll be walking around, and what do you know, you stumble upon a dungeon. You go to the nearest settlement, and you come back to that dungeon, and you sort of carve a path from... Oh, what? This is a wide open... Yeah, okay. Sorry, arachnophobia incoming. Yeah, you sort of carve paths all throughout the land from your home base to the point of interest, and I really like that about it. Okay, so we're looking for a bard here. We don't need to spend a lot of time fighting enemies unnecessarily. We need to get in and out. Oh, you know what's cute? We have Lamias, however you pronounce it, down here in the water. It's a very rare enemy type to find. We should feel honored. I'm not going to go fight her. Maybe, like, on our way out. I just doubt that the... What are we looking for? The bard? I doubt the bard is down there. Huh. You know, this would be a good time to have the shirt on. Do I go invisible here? Oh, they're fighting each other. This would be a good time to have the willpower shirt on. Use it or lose it, right? I hope there's not a nip slip on that shirt. It feels like there might have been. Hey, M3, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, that's right. This place is a dead end. Let's go ahead and fire slap. He paralyzed me. Let's put on shield 2. And then fire slap. Okay. Abort the spell. Yeah, I agree, David. The fast travel really dulls the experience. It's like I still think it's done pretty well in Skyrim in that you can use the carriages and stuff like that. But do y'all remember playing Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that? There are many sequences where you are traveling with somebody and there's not really a lot for you to do on the controller, but a conversation is happening and you're watching the landscape roll by. So my question for those dastardly developers is why... hold on. Let me get back and use Fire Blast. My question for the dastardly developers is, whenever we hire the carriage, why don't we see the landscape rolling by? Like, I would actually really enjoy to just put my controller down and watch the landscape roll by instead of, you know, warping to the place whenever I'm hiring carriages and stuff like that. But we don't have the option, you know what I mean? It is what it is. A realistic reason for that is you have too many random encounters with, like, your carriage would get attacked by an ice wraith or something like that, and then you're pretty much done. Whereas, like, those ice wraiths are not a threat otherwise. Ice wraiths aren't a threat if you're just teleporting past them, basically. Yeah, and the physics are insane. Yeah, they'd rather just not handle that problem than fix their engine and make it make sense, you know? We eat some rations, jumping, destruction, mysticism increased. I can't carry any more stuff. It just be like that sometimes, you know? Should I leave a pile of loot by the door again? I think we might have to. And then we'll just have to try to return the quest on time. Recall. Anchor. Set up a campfire. There are enemies nearby. Okay. Well, we leave a loot pile anyway. We go over here. I should have tried to sell it. Well, they're not that heavy. 1.75 kilograms. Man. Am I going to leave my gold behind? That's not cool. But it's, like, weighing me down a lot. I don't actually need these arrows, so hopefully I remember to just not pick them back up. Okay, I think I've left most of it behind that I need to leave behind. Oh yeah, this stuff too. I guess if I forget my gold, I can just go on a killing spree and way rest and call it a day, you know? Which is probably something we're going to do to end the stream whenever it comes to that. I feel so much lighter and faster now that we've gotten rid of the excess gold and stuff, excess weight. I really need to start traveling with a cart. That'll be a game changer. So we learned in our last stream, whenever we missed the deadline for a quest just by the skin of our teeth, that spamming invisibility and going through the dungeon while on a close, like a, how do you describe it, on a timed quest is not always the best way to do it. So I'm trying to be more moderate about when I'm going to be using invisibility. It was a lot of fun though doing that style. And that's part of the joy of like having magicka that doesn't restore. Wow, look at this. There's like 1, 2, 3 spiders right here. Oh, he found me finally. Okay. Yeah, got 3 of them on the tail. White fire blast. Hup. And now we just run. Let's get this guy over here with the others. Whoa. Oh, come on, let me in. Every time we pass the saving throw, I'm chalking it up to choosing to wear the shirt of willpower. Oh, come on. So we'll know that we have the right enemy whenever we see a non-spider for the first time, because so far it's been nothing but spiders. Okay, we come up here. Just go ahead to our spell book. Knock. Okay. Ah. No. Goodness gracious. That booty's so spacious. Alright, hold on. Destruction. White fire blast. Maybe we just explore like a different area while these guys are regrouping. Oh, what? Whoa. Hold on now. Hold on. Teleport. You're pressing the right button. Now, Mikey, you're pressing the correct button because you're pressing teleport. Okay. Anchor. Did I get hit by my own white fire blast? Because that could just straight up kill me. I hope I did not get hit by white fire blast. That would be terrible. I think I did. Okay, more bandages. And let's go to my dispel. Yeah, look, white fire blast is an active effect on me right now. Okay. I gotta be careful with my AoEs. Hey, Cosmi, what's up? You got off an 8-hour DOS2 session. I feel like you've told me what that acronym means before, but I forgot already. But thank you for coming by. We're just barely not killing ourselves due to our spells here. Man, that was sloppy. Okay, can I heal over here? Yeah, I can. A compromise for Oblivion is that you could fast travel from stables to stables you've already been to. I think that's fair, and honestly, if it starts to get too tedious for you, then, you know, just fast travel. It's fine. Like, if you're pressed for time that day and you really want to do some questing, just fast travel. It's all good. Especially if you've been there before. Yeah, Daggerfall does have, like, an actual metric weight system, whereas the other game's just like, this is worth 1 weight point. Alright. The fact that we're chasing an enemy in here means that we should check behind every little nook and cranny here. Alright, Lady Cosmi, thanks for coming by. Yeah, I did. Thankfully, I made a dispel spell for the sake of surviving against, vampires in case they cast a sleep spell on me. But it actually just, like, saved my ass just now. Because while my shirt of willpower will help me to not get killed by, like, to not get paralyzed, it apparently is not going to help me to resist my own spells. So, of course, every enemy in the world can resist my spells all day long, but no, not me. I'm going to fail every saving throw. Not me. Let's save some spell points by using the chain here to levitate. And there's often some loot kind of scattered around this little balcony area, so let's grab that as well. Some fur armor can keep us warm in Wayrest whenever we go back there. Let's see. Is invisibility and chameleon broken in other games? Honestly, I have a hard time speaking to that because in... Okay, so in Daggerfall, I'm having a great time using true invisibility and then, like, AoE spells to nuke enemies and then, like, not get hurt. So that's fine. But in Oblivion and Skyrim, I rarely had a high enough illusion skill such that I could actually, like, use it effectively, use invisibility. So I don't know. Man, I feel like this whole little dungeon romp, I've been in this first dungeon block and not exploring anything new. This is just a door. Okay, they got me. Shield, fire slap, fire slap, fire slap. Am I hitting you, buddy? Let's combust, because I gotta kind of surround it here. Fire slap. Oh, actually... Okay, let's go ahead and... Where's my shield? Shield, 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 shield. I'm gonna get diseased again, but it'll be worth it for that sweet, juicy blunt level up. When are we gonna get a better weapon? We still just have, like, the steel staff. Because I think the material type impacts your hit rate as well, which will be helpful. So we get, like, something stronger. Man, it's such a hard-fought battle whenever I'm trying to do melee attacks here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a dead end. Hey, Fonz. You don't think chameleon is good? Yeah, it just kind of helps you to not be detected. Like, it increases your chance that sneaking will be successful, basically. Yeah, so whenever I was very young, playing Oblivion for the first time, I just made a bunch of, like, chameleon 15% sort of enchantments, and then I never had to do anything in the game ever again because I was constantly completely invisible and was just ganking every enemy. So that was kind of not fun, but the game lets you do it, so what do you know? I don't know how they would protect against that. I don't know if it should not be capable of doing it. Like, it's easy to complain about the games being easy to break, but you're always the one breaking them. Like, you're choosing to do that in that sort of situation, you know? So I don't think that's really a problem. Yeah, come on. Let's get all the enemies together here and start combusting. And some blunt experience here. Man, you know what's been kind of unfortunate about this stream in particular is that it's been really, like, low tension. All the close calls have been self-inflicted. Yeah, thanks for coming by, Lunar, and it's a pleasure chatting. We'll see you next time. I've got about, like, 18 more minutes before telling myself to stop streaming and make good choices. Speaking of which, that time from, like, 11 p.m. to midnight, it's often occupied by reading. I just finished reading, like, the rest of the Narnia series, and so I want to reread... Oh, dang it, they got me again. Shield... I want to reread some Tolkien, and so right now I'm reading The Hobbit, which is just, like, such a joy. I've read, like, 3 chapters of it so far, and it's, you know, reading 1 chapter of Narnia before bed, that takes you, like, no time at all, but reading 1 chapter of something written by Tolkien, like, you know, you never really know how long it's going to be. Yeah, it's that's the slow confidence, creep of permadeath. It's good old complacency. Like, right now, my stats are pretty low, my vitals are pretty low, but I'm still not that worried because of the dungeon type that we're in. We also just found what is effectively a rest area. But man, I did not know that my own AoE spells would be so dangerous. I feel like someone has probably warned me about that in the past. That makes me more interested in using my area around caster spells, like invisibility plus area around caster. Okay, shield, fire slap. Okay, I think enemies are still nearby, huh? Oh yeah, Darkest Dungeon is another game I could see myself playing on the channel. Chameleon for recipe for chameleon form. I doubt I'll use that one actually, but I'll still pick up the recipe because I think our next reward in the Dark Brotherhood will be potion making. Okay, this is a bed we can sleep in. Oh, you're in the first read of the Two Towers. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. It's been a while since I've really paid much attention to it. I think I've read it twice. These days I read much more slowly and methodically than I used to. What do you mean by the long Reddit books, pardon? Do you mean books recommended by Redditors, or what's the deal there? You had a hard time getting through The Hobbit, huh? I think a lot of people have the inverse experience because it's like Tolkien is known to give you like a dense amount of exposition up front, and then like you have to find a way to enjoy reading that exposition, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's not always pleasant or stimulating in Lord of the Rings, whereas The Hobbit is more of a children's book. So perhaps it felt too juvenile for you, maybe? Oops. Man, I'm having a hard time navigating this dungeon and finding new areas to explore. Yeah, this is the dead end, Micah. Let's just go to the basics and zap this guy. Yeah, save some spell points. Okay, so someone previously recommended doing this. Is it Y? Yeah. If I do this... Oh, what? I was trying to make like an X on the ground to show like this is a dead end. I don't know if that'll convey it very well to myself. Ooh. He's gonna be like literally the only humanoid enemy in this dungeon. Oh, you know, I think this wall moves if I go and try enough of the torches. Fire slap. Said, you're hooked more by the explanation of the Hobbit migration in the prologue of Fellowship. Alright, well, that's fair. Oh, okay, okay. You're saying people on Reddit like to write books, and sometimes a publisher will pick them up. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked the Lord of the Rings movies too. I have a love-hate relationship with some like novels that are turned into films because they inherently change the way that I visualize. Like, this is my first time reading The Hobbit since watching the Hobbit movies, and now like I have to see the Hobbit, like, you know, Bilbo as Martin Freeman, and I'm a little bit upset by that. I can't unsee it. It's kind of frustrating. Man, I want to go fight these Lamias. Like, what if the burglar's underwater down there? Not the burglar, the bard. But I don't want climates and calories to kill me. My anchor's over here, isn't it? If I get too cold, I can just go back to the fire. Recall, anchor. I think I have a potion of resist cold. And of water breathing. Alright, or water walking. Let's see. Resist shock. Teleporter. Resist frost. And water breathing. Oh, I wanted water walking. That's kind of bad. We'll be super slow in there. We're still going to try it. Resist frost. Alright, shield as well. Let's go. This is really scary. Oh, this is scary. This is scary. Oh, man. What kind of spells do I use underwater? Okay, we're out of here. Oh, what? Fatigue overcomes you and sends you to a watery grave. Not like this, guys. Hold on. Hold on. I'm teleporting away, though. Am I dead? I don't understand. Hold on. It happened again. You drop to the ground completely exhausted and then say, you regain consciousness for some time. Which one is it? Which one is it? No, 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 no. Guys. I didn't have to jump in that water at all. I didn't know the Lamias were so dangerous. Alright, guys. We had a good run, didn't we? With Edgy Cat Girl. Oh, that's disappointing. We were doing pretty well. But I jumped in the water. Yeah, I ran out of 9 lives. Yeah, I jumped in the water, y'all. I had no clue Lamias would damage my stamina that fast. That was crazy. It's all right. We had a really good run with what's her face, Sombra. So my question now is, how should we determine? You know what the great part about your character dying is? You get to play a new character next. So my question is, how can we determine which character to go with next? Do I roll for it? I want the chat to be involved somehow, but how do we do that? You know, I don't really know how that's done. Yeah, the debts are definitely settled. Spartan, I think we'll be making a character on the next stream. Yeah, Cube, actually with Argonians also do pretty poorly underwater. I should have just not gone underwater, right? But there are some like ganky situations where your quest target ends up it just happens to be underwater. All right, so David, you say roll for it, but whenever you roll for your character in Daggerfall, do you roll for the default class? Do you roll for each skill? Because that can kind of take a while. I'm just clicking around here. I don't plan on keeping this character. But I heard that the list of classes are organized by difficulty descending. So like the mage, spell sword, battle mage are all the easiest classes. It's weird to see healer listed there. And at the bottom, knight, warrior, and barbarian are all the hardest classes. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, Marvin, I'm with you. I do I do like characters who just grind in a temple. Okay, let me test something out. I'm not going to play here, but I want to go to yeah, this will work. Man, I can't believe that we just jumped in the water and died immediately. And it was because of stamina, man. I feel like character deaths are like always because of stamina. Have y'all ever seen this mod? It's a mercantile sort of simulator. Or something's wrong with the interface, I feel like. Maybe I'll have to read more about how it works. But you see how the text is like overlapping here? I'm interested in playing like maybe someone who worships Zenithar, the god of commerce, who uses this mod some. Okay, Spartan, you say a couple of polls and have the votes be the percentage for the character would be. Roll, just re-roll if you get something you've played a lot. Yours looks different, Fonz. Fonz, are you the one that recommended this mod previously? Because I do have it installed. I really don't know how it works. You can construct a new workshop? My goodness. This is crazy. You have a ledger of your last... I wasn't even using the mod. You still have these metrics. Yeah, so Spartan, I've been thinking of a way to, I've been trying to think of a way to use voting, right? But like, do you say like a couple of polls and have the votes be the percentage for what the character could be? I guess that's a good point. Like, I could suggest certain archetypes, because I was thinking like, oh, how do people vote on the skills I'm going to do? Because then we'd have like, you know, I think 12 votes before we have even the skills sorted out. So I do want it to be done through voting somehow. Or maybe would I vote during the stream or vote, like, post a community thing? It's something that I've got to kind of figure out. Yeah, you said that the pixelated font takes up more space, and that's probably the issue. I don't want to say that's a deal breaker necessarily, but like, I don't want to use smooth font, man. Like, if there's a way to just scale down the font, that would be great. But this is Daggerfall. Like, the way this font looks is like somehow in a load-bearing structure in the Daggerfall experience for me. You know what I mean? Oops, I didn't know I was going to be quitting all the way there. But yeah, I'm thinking of playing some sort of holy character because I like serving the temples so much. Man, my characters always die before I get the chance to craft potions. What's with that? And in this case, we were so comfortably off, I just dove into the deep end like a dingus. It's part of the fun, though. It's our ass got pulled out of the fire too many times by the Die Harder mod. It was about time that we just died. Yeah, I'll mull it over a bit. If y'all can think of like some concrete ways, the way the community can get involved in creating the next character, like leave it on a comment in this video or on one of my community posts or something like that. Post a community vote thing. It'll give you time to figure out how you want to do it. Yeah, I'm with you, Mildred. Oh, the community has a 24-hour limit. Is that right? I didn't know that. Yeah, Cube, the way you would play a Dark Priest or something like that would be, there are like sort of hidden witch covens out there. And you would play a character who's like in the Mages Guild and maybe the Dark Brotherhood, kind of like Sombra was, but who wants to end up in a... But who wants to end up finding one of those witch covens and, you know, Daedra worship maxing here. Yeah. Y'all don't mind, right? Just getting started on a Slay the Spire run real quick. I might stream a little bit longer than usual just to get started on this, but what do I do? Yeah, I'm interested in... You said that the community post only lasts 24 hours. If I had my own Discord, this would be so much easier. To be honest, I have a draft of a Discord post going, of a Discord server going, but for the reasons we mentioned at the start of the stream about like not really wanting to dive in very, like, giving too much attention to my technology, I haven't actually put it all together just yet. Fighting Hexaghost. We're just gonna reduce some maximum HP to get... Oh man, Wraith form is really good, but I'm so bad with it, man. And it costs 3 energy, which is pretty crippling here. Malaise will be good if we get 1 upgrade on it. Phantasmal Killer is fine. You just have to like know what you're drawing. I'm gonna go with Malaise. And I think I want to start over here, but now like the earlier I get to a rest site, the better. And over here I have to choose between my first elite and a rest site, and I think I'll probably skip 1 elite to take the rest site. Legends tell of a ghostly Khajiit who stalks the dungeon breathing deadly fire. Man, you know what sucks is like that we had just started doing that really cool gameplay loop that I was like really looking forward to so much. Man, that's okay. It's okay. Another idea that I've been kind of sitting on is sort of a pacifist character who wants to banish undead and banish Daedra. So we might do someone who like has pretty good. Oh, I should have done some math here. Let's do this. Okay, still a full block. So we might do somebody who has mysticism for the banish and dispel effects. Healing. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure yet. But y'all are leaning me into a religious character with holy magic, and that could be really cool in these games. Oh man, look at me go. I'm just already going to my coping mechanism of playing Slay the Spire whenever I'm upset. I'm not that upset, it's just how the game works. Sometimes your character dies, but yeah, I thought that we were unstoppable. Yeah, a paladin character could be fun. You know, holy characters are often associated with casting, but I like to think that some characters can be like Saint George, who's just like a warrior, or there's a really cool saint called Saint Nestor, who is like a close ally of Saint Demetrios, and Saint Nestor was made to fight some barbarian in an arena to preserve Saint Demetrios' life or something like that. So some saints are just straight up awesome warriors. What I'm getting at is there are some holy characters who don't have to be magic users, you know what I mean? What do I get here? Can't afford sadistic nature. Predator for 38 gold is pretty good. We can do that and a card remove. I'm not very good at Slay the Spire, y'all, so look out for that. I think we're doing... Do we heal or max HP? Max HP heals a little bit anyway, so let's go for it. Oh, brother. I'm embarrassed. We really did it this time. What if we defend melees for 1 on this guy? Yeah, it's a full block. Yo, James, you said one of your local churches had either Demetrius or Nestor as a patron. That is awesome. I love those guys. Like, I think that both their stories are like, they're both crowned with martyrdom, so that's fantastic. But both their stories are just so inspirational. Man, I need to start doing damage to this guy soon. I hope you're able to check out one of those churches, because that'd be really cool to. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. All right, later, Spartan. Thanks for tuning in as always. I'm probably going to be logging off pretty soon as well. I just kind of want to keep talking about character ideas and things like that. But yeah, playing a holy character who is not a caster whatsoever is kind of appealing to me. But we play a lot of non-casters, like, kind of heavily, so we might just choose 1 or 2 schools of magic to work with. We should be able to get the kill here, yeah. We don't have enough discard for Sneaky Strike to be good. We desperately need to upgrade Malaise, so that whenever you cast it for 0 mana, it'll still have effect. Oh, dude, not this. I hate this encounter. Okay, at least we started with Predator in hand, so we can bonk this guy. We can... 8+3 is going to be a kill on this guy. And then we're just going to have to take 6 and get weakened twice. In the original sense, a paladin is a knight companion of the king, especially Charlemagne, the Holy Roman Emperor. Yeah, I'm with you. Especially, anybody in the chat played much Fire Emblem? Whenever I think about a really strong paladin, the person that comes to mind is Percival from Fire Emblem 6. And he was not a caster, he's just a strong dude. And we're about to take a lot of damage here. Let's see if we ditch the strike. This is 8, this is 10, 14. Yeah, let's do this. Ah, man, this is tough. What if we well-laid plans into 1,000 cuts? This is probably not right. Okay, we got kind of lucky in that we can play 1,000 cuts. Defend does 1 damage to everything. Malaise on this guy will spare us some damage. Oh, it's a full block. Let's retain Predator. Restoration and Necromancy School. Well, see, the thing is, if we're playing a holy character, not that interested in Necromancy, you know what I mean? If we're trying to be holy about it. Let's get this guy out of here. Let's, do we neutralize? Yeah, we neutralize. And then we can... Do we want to block? Block is going to reduce 5 damage. This is going to reduce 3 damage if I kill one of them. I think I want to preserve my life total, so we're going to block. Save a quick slash. Yeah, I don't know if Necromancy will be something our holy character uses. Yeah, you're right. The Knights of the Round Table were basically paladins. That's really cool. You're leaning me toward a non-caster sort of character, but I learned through Sombra that the Alteration School of Magic is super busted, just like by having shield spells and restoration and stuff like that. And I mean, you all know how much I love having. This is actually a really tough card decision here. How much I love having companions. So playing a holy character who goes around recruiting people and healing them and keeping them alive, that's also pretty appealing to me. Kind of a tough call. Escape plan, prepared, or cloak and dagger. Prepared would be good if I end up finding some discard synergies. All of these are bad against Gremlin Knob, which I'm expecting we'll fight soon, but if I do fight Gremlin Knob, Cloak and Dagger gives me the most block per energy and gives me a shiv in hand. Okay, it's not Gremlin Knob. And this is actually a pretty good encounter for us because we will, yeah, 1,000 cuts does AoE is what I'm trying to get at. Let's go ahead and use a colorless potion. Apotheosis. Oh my goodness, what a great hit here. The default healer class, I think I've dabbled in it, David, but I don't think I can't remember what it does off the top of my head. But that would be sort of similar to the kind of character I'm referring to here. Let's go ahead and hit Predator, use Survivor, ditching Defender. Gonna draw 2 extra cards the next turn. Yo, 1,000 cuts, we hit it. Let's go ahead and set that up. Defend, and then take a bunch of damage. Do you mean the healer class in Daggerfall, by the way, David? Have you played that one? Have you played the healer class in other games? Like, what's it like? Defend. I don't really want to malaise these guys because it's that was kind of a bad attack there. That's okay. Oh no, all dazes. Yeah, I like the in Skyrim I've played a sort of healer class before where it's more of a bard where I made Eric the Slayer more like the protagonist, whereas I just like followed him around and tried to give him buffs and heal him and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool. I like Eric the Slayer as the protagonist of Skyrim. Another 1,000 cuts. That's probably too much, right? I think I just want dash because this would give me block against Gremlin Knob. Or a Callum. Not really what I want to see. Dude, we're fighting these huge hordes today. What's going on? I think I just want to get rid of this guy. Could have been bad. Oh no, that's a full block. Wow, crazy. I mean, I guess we did use dash, so makes sense. Quick slash, shiv, and we really just need to defend here, right? Kill the guy next turn. I'm probably gonna take our next elite fight and then call it quits. Okay, we gotta attack this guy twice, unfortunately. Let's defend malaise. 1,000 cuts, neutralize, survivor, ditching either one doesn't make a difference here. Our HP is so low. Man, I just can't hang with the ascension that I'm on. I'm just not good enough at this game. We do Cloak and Dagger and Dash, I guess, because they're going so full aggro. Cloak and Dagger, and then Shiv will kill this guy. And then defend. So you tried playing the healer in Oblivion once as a philosopher or a healer who lived in the Imperial City. I was trying to do the pilgrimage to the shrines, but never did. Yeah, the thing about Oblivion in particular is it doesn't have very good follower mechanics. Like, unless there's a mod, I'm sure there's a mod out there for it. But you're usually just getting followers from quests, and you don't have that many opportunities to, like, be a healer in Oblivion. You know what I mean? Like, who are you going to heal? You don't have quests for it. It doesn't really set you up for that very well. Let's retain Survivor as a good block skill. But you can play healers pretty well in like the other Elder Scrolls games for the most part. I guess I should have kept Predator in hand. Okay, ideally we're able to kill both of these on the same turn. Oh, this is actually a good time to try to knock this guy out. I can't though. Okay, 1,000 cuts. Backflip. Malaise for 1. Full block. I do like the shrines in Oblivion, especially the fact that you get a paper map that's in game that tells you where the shrines are. Like, you can go do the pilgrimage without looking at you know, any other map. That's really cool. Like, that's long overdue that we have that kind of navigation. Okay, calculated gamble is awesome, but we're gonna take acrobatics to draw 3 and discard 1, and then we're just gonna see how we do against this guy. And I guess we just fire off the malaise, right? We don't have any reason to delay. I guess we could try to hit 1,000 cuts, but this isn't gonna wake him up. Put -4 strength on him will be pretty good. Well-laid plans. End turn, keeping backup handy. And we should hit 1,000 cuts pretty soon. We did not hit it yet. Come on, 1,000 cuts. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and use Neutralize and Predator. Keeping Survivor. Okay, so we have to choose between Dash and 1,000 cuts. But I think we pretty much have to do this. We'll keep Cloak and Dagger handy so we can play 2 cards using 1,000 cuts. Little secret between us, I once recorded a bunch of Slay the Spire content and I threw it all away because I'm so bad at the game. There we go. I feel like it's not that. If I were streaming it all the time and like we're all figuring out how to play the game together and chat's helping me out and stuff like that, it'd be different. But to just watch somebody suck at a game is not really that fun. Okay, Dash is great here. Do I Cloak and Dagger or just Strike? I think I just, well, Cloak and Dagger lets me play 2 cards and lets me full block, so we gotta do that. We'll keep Predator in hand. Or do we keep Backflip in hand? Lets me draw 2 cards. Pretty sweet. Okay, Backflip, Survivor to get rid of Defend, Neutralize, Strike. Keep a Strike. Okay, we Quick Slash, we Strike, we Slay, we do this, I mean. This is going surprisingly well. I don't think we took any damage because of that early malaise. Deal 8 damage. Yeah, that's fine. Finish him off. See, kind of like Juicy Bracelet kind of sucks. Terror, we'll take it. All right, guys. Random Slay the Spire session over. I'll be brainstorming about how to like poll for my next Daggerfall character later this week. I think I'll be present again to stream Friday night, so I got the stream like the week to figure it out. Thanks as always for tuning in, and